Well, the first video went okay with me reacting to Snow White, and it seems as though at least one or two of you want to see the Twilight version of this as well. So I guess, I don't know. Buckle up, because here we go, but let's roll the intro first. Alright, well, the video that I did on Snow White is doing okay, but of course, as expected by probably most everyone, it was claimed by the studios and blocked in all countries. I got it unblocked, but it's fully demonetized. So in order to try to circumvent that little issue here today, I have been shamelessly stealing a compilation from another YouTube channel here. It's linked in the description if you want to go and watch the original compilation, but I'm using that compilation already uploaded to YouTube in hopes that this video today will not be claimed and demonetized and blocked in all countries like the last one was. I don't really feel like I need to give any backstory on the Twilight movie. Most of you have probably heard of it at least once or twice in your lifetime, and if you haven't, boy oh boy, this is going to be one interesting ride. Now let's just go. So these clips are going to be much shorter. Again, hopefully it'll avoid copyright a little bit more. So when Bella walks in, we're already introduced to kind of the one facial expression that we are experiencing throughout the rest of this movie. Fortunately, it improves as time goes on, but in this movie it stays pretty rough all the way around. So what we're seeing, obviously, Stuart has her eyebrows drawn together, lowered, consternation. This could be any myriad of emotional expressions. Then we're seeing the light chin jut as well, interestingly enough, and parting of the lips. It does not make sense for what this social interaction is. She sees a cute boy from across the room, and that's her response. His response is fascinating, to say the least. The reposturing side of things lets us know that there's a role change for going off of just strict nonverbal communication rules. But then the very overt clasping of the hand over the mouth is, I mean, it's hard to misconstrue. It's a desire to block a scent from entering that area. I mean, it could have been a little bit more obvious if he had just plugged his nose, but that wouldn't have had the same theatrical effect. So this is not my favorite movie series to begin with. It's not the worst movie series that I've seen, but it's definitely not up there with my favorite cinematic pieces. Sometimes I'll hate watch it just for the sake of hate watching it. I did not read the books. I did not take part of the whole social movement that was the Twilight series back in the day, so I kind of feel like I'm out of the loop on that one, but I've seen them enough to really get a good established opinion. But we've got some nonverbals to go through and just some, I don't know, I think we just have some misery to go through, so you and I better just hunker in. We're about to be a torture.
I'm the world's most dangerous predator. Everything about me invites you in. My voice, my face, even my smell.
Even his smell. Again, we're seeing the classic expression from Bella on this front, from Stuart. The classic expression that I'm saying here, besides what I just tried to break down earlier, is fairly neutral. There's not a lot that happens with her emotive presence throughout this film. There's a fair bit of resting within this concerned, lightly confused expression that she keeps throughout the majority of the entirety of the film. So we'll see that continually pop up here, but yeah, I mean, yeah.
Doesn't he own a shirt?
Doesn't he have a shirt? It's a great question. Could have easily worn a shirt, really. There's so many issues with the wolves transforming, like what doesn't rip apart and what doesn't stay together. It's similar to the quandary of like the Hulk's shorts. Why does any of Jacob's clothing stay together? But
I'm just sorry I let this go on for so long.
Please. Don't.
Okay, Edward pops out with a little bit of a contempt smile in there afterwards, which I'm wondering what that cues into his character. Back onto Bella's side of things. I don't really know what exactly is supposed to be portrayed here. There's some movements within the glabella and eyebrow region. There's drawing together, pushing upwards, relaxing, drawing back together. It's complicated with that side of things. Then she's doing some gasping in there as well. We have a lip compression, which is the biting back of negative words, sentiments, or emotions. So seeing that kind of weird conflagration, it pushes me exclusively towards a negative sentiment. There's not a lot of positivity on that. This movie is filled with a rather concerning amount of desynchronization non-verbally with what the plot and the verbal patterns of things are trying to portray at the time. It's as if the verbal plot, everything like that, is doing its own storyline, and then some of the nonverbals are like having an aneurysm over here to the side. We'll see that continue to unfold as we go through this, but I'm at least glad that you get to sit down and be privy to the suffering that I'm going through in order to make this happen. So, I mean, you're welcome.
I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to introduce myself last week. I'm Edward Cullen. You're Bella?
Yes.
Not too much on Edward's side that's happening throughout there. I mean, I would say that the verbal patterns that he's using are fairly stilted and evenly spaced. It, again, sounds a little bit more mechanical, but Robert does an okay job at trying to act this role to the best that he can act the role as it was written. On the other side of things, Stewart really is showing heavily her lack of experience as on-screen talent in this area, as her nonverbal communication is not portraying anything that seems to fit the storyline at this time. We're seeing some of these shoulder cock-ins here, which these ones don't have a specific universal nonverbal communication point. Those cocking of the shoulders, if you see that from face on instead of the side like it was kind of showing there, that can be insecurity or uncertainty around a certain matter. Maybe that's being played into there. But then we're seeing some more of these weird swallows and the gaspings and the lip compressions that we have seen everywhere else, which again, they just don't make psychological contextual sense with what's going on in that specific scene. And it kind of gives the same sort of feeling as what we saw from Ziegler in the last video that I did on Snow White, where it's just Stewart just wanted to do some acting really hard in that area, but what came out was not anything that made psychological contextual sense. It was just acting really hard into some sort of nebulous vein of emotion that just didn't connect with what Robert was presenting. Now, there's all sorts of theories around this as to why this could be. It could be the writing, it could be the intention of the author, it could be the intention of the director, and things like that. It's true. And with anything in nonverbal communication, there's always exceptions to the rules because psychology is not a black and white. Right now, there's a lot of gray areas, so we don't really know exactly what's going on here. All that we can kind of do is rely on some of these universals and try to understand from there as best as we can. So with that kind of framework in mind, what Stewart is doing doesn't make sense because the universals aren't pushing us in support of the character. It's pushing us out of the character and wondering like, what was happening there? What was that whole thing? Why did you do all of that? Some of these acting points from less skilled actors or talented actors or even just less experienced actors at the time, that's what we're feeling is something's wrong. And so we're left feeling off from it. Anyway.
Well, I just want to try one thing. Just stay very still. Don't move.
Oh my god. Nobody was not moving in that. Bella's character was moving and gasping and everything with her same expression that she's had throughout the rest of it. And Edward is so slowly moving in for what appears to be a kiss. And it's just, why? And I know that the directors are like, we need to build tension and blah, blah, blah. It's just not well done, in my opinion. Let's continue on through this delightful compilation of clips.
How old are you?
17.
How long have you been 17?
A while.
What was that? How long have you been 17? So the fluttering eye blink means an increase in cognitive load. It can indicate a number of specific things, but at its base, that's what it means, is that there's an increase in the cognitive load. If you see somebody that's blinking at a certain rate, and then you see a bunch of blinks start to come in and like fluttering blinks and things like that, that means that they're thinking, they're processing extra. Why that exists in this question, how long have you been 17? Maybe she's suddenly increasing in cognitive load, possibly her eyes dart off to the side, meaning that she wants to create some level of space. You can usually follow a person's gaze and their feet to understand where in a social situation they want to be, especially the feet. We're not able to see the feet in this area, but if you see a person's feet facing away from like a conversation that they're having, that means that that person is most likely to want to break from that conversation first. Shortly followed by the eyes, a person will look where they want to go, and she's looking away with a fluttering blink in there, and then the weird lip compression, gasps, and everything like that we've talked about and that Stewart exclusively did in this entire video. But that's not what the emotion of that scene is wanting to me. Even with after that, she tries to go and connect more with Edward, and that directly contradicts what her nonverbal communication does in this scene here. And it's such a catastrophe. It's just not good acting, so it removes most people from the storyline. It just gets messy so quickly.
It's not you.
It's not you, it's me, right? Really?
It's true. It is me. I'm not good.
Honestly, Jacob, I don't know how else to say this. Nobody in this movie is good if we're talking about their acting chop. Yeah, I guess in that scene that all follows, we're all on the same page still. What I'm finding out throughout this compilation is that I'm not going to be dissecting individual emotional clips from Bella. It's the same exact emotional clip throughout all of the scenes of the movie.
So you're a werewolf.
Yeah.
I'm designed to kill.
I don't care.
I've killed people before.
It does not matter.
It just sounds like they're reading. It sounds like a table read. It sounds like they've sat down and they've got their scripts and they're just reading the script at each other. And then if you're not going off of just the audio and you happen to look at their faces, even that is confusing because, again, we're dealing with all of the desynchronization that I've already talked about here. None of this sounds natural. This interaction, that doesn't sound natural. Sure, the argument can be made. This is a fantasy movie and it was made for kids and we're nitpicking here, and that's absolutely true. It's made for kids. I am nitpicking, and that's just how this is going to be. I am nitpicking a film because I feel like nitpicking a film and breaking it down to its little tiny building blocks when we're coming to body language here and letting you all know why I have so much difficulty with various movies that I'm watching. There were so many aspects of this movie that could have been done differently and better, but instead we're left with things like this. Just on a basic physiological note, if somebody gets punched, it doesn't matter how strong they are or how enforced they are. If they get punched, there's going to be a reflection of that in the tissue across their body because it's still a force interacting with another force. Muscles have nothing to do with this. When she punches Jacob, there's no movement from Jacob, even down to the tissue on his face. His skin doesn't move, his jaw doesn't move, the muscle around his face doesn't move. There's nothing that tightens in his neck. There's literally no implication of Bella hitting, which lets us know either one, she didn't hit him at all, which is the case, or two, she hit him with such a light force that it didn't even merit the movement of skin. Which it doesn't matter how strong you are. You can be the most strong, powerful werewolf in the whole history of humanity. If somebody moves your skin moves. That has nothing to do with muscles. That has everything to do with the elasticity and connectivity of your skin's tissue. Again, this is just one of those elements in this movie that it makes it exhausting.
Well, I don't really like the rain. Any cold, wet thing, I don't really
like the rain. What the hell is going on? Calm down. Stop. So with that, I don't really like the rain. What you would expect to see in those sorts of areas, not necessarily a lip compression and lip bite in there like we're seeing. Those don't make sense. Sure, the lip compression, maybe that is the biting back of negative sentiments or emotions. However, if we're following across the rest of her face, which remains largely neutral, there is a little bit of activity in her eyebrows and glabella area where you might hope to see things, but the entirety of the expression is desynchronized with what she's talking about. What you would expect to see in somebody talking about something that they do not like would be little seepages of perhaps scorn or disgust, something in those lines. If they feel like they are above it, maybe a contempt side of things. But we're not getting that. Instead, we're getting this weird little dry swallow, lip compression, head shake thing that just does not make emotional sense with the scene. And for us watching, it's just, is this real? Are we supposed to be steeped in this? My suspension of belief is really being challenged right now. If the characters aren't believable in what they're experiencing and emoting in a world that is not reality, then the audience will be left feeling fully detached from it. And so many people felt that while watching these films. Even when they came out and there was the big social movement for them, there were a lot of people that were like, this is just trash. This is hard to watch. It boils down to the directing and the on-screen talent. The two kind of walked hand in hand to make a catastrophe of a movie that many people still enjoy. And if you watch this and enjoy this, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't have any other words for that. I'm just sorry. But some people watch it for comfort and things like that, which I get. But if you're watching it to try to get a A-list acting or a really rich plot or anything along those lines, I don't think that you're on the right track here. If you haven't watched Twilight, I can't suggest to not watch it enough.
Edward, stop. Her blood is clean. You're killing her. Edward. Stop. Stop.
I don't really know what else you could do to make this scene less cringy than it was, but all that I can think of at this time are the times before and after the scene itself of like, okay, so we need, all right, Robert, we need you to get down on the ground and you're gonna take Stuart's arm and just... You know what? You go ham, and we'll just make it work. We'll just color grade the ever-living shit out of it and add some music over it and hope that we can make this work.
Follow me?
I feel very protective of you. I think 18 is a little young to start worrying about that.
It's 1 year older than you.
No, it isn't. I'm 109.
Wow. Maybe I shouldn't be dating such an old man. It's gross.
I do agree. Maybe you shouldn't. There are a lot of moral issues with that. Let's do the math here. He would have been, what, roughly like 80 to 90 when she was born. So, like, I feel like that's a little pedophile. But if you watch the series, it's not one that has troubles with pedophilic relationships like that. As we'll probably end up, unfortunately, seeing.
Bella. Immortality becomes you.
Okay, he says her name creepy. She responds with disgust and scorn. That actually makes contextual sense. It flashes over to Edward. What I find interesting from Edward is what he flashes is a little bit of contempt, which is that moral or intellectual superiority. I'm wondering if he's supposed to be portraying that towards the weird guy who just said the name or towards Bella. And then what in the ever-loving hell is that weird laugh thingy that he does? Is that in the book? I highly doubt it, but maybe I'm wrong. Let me know if you're a fan of this and you've watched this and you've read the books. Is that included? Because that was weird. Okay, so you and I have been around for a minute, right? We've been around, the Earth has gone around the sun at least a few times since we've been watching the media and being involved in the world. I am almost 1,000% positive that if somebody walked out of a random building in a very tourist-heavy area, and the only thing that was notable about them was that they were one shirtless and that their skin sparkled a little bit, nobody would be like, hey, let's look and hyper-focus on that person, because the immediate assumption from the random passerby that would look would be like they've got body glitter on. So everybody expresses differently. Nobody would be like, this is something that, news. We need to call in all of the media stations and newspapers and everything like that because this person is sparkling. If you go to one rave, you'll quickly realize that just sparkling skin is not notable. But in this movie, the plot has to happen. And with the plot happening, that means that the sparkle skin is a huge red flag to everybody around. And that it's going to ensure that everybody is like, wow, that's an evil person over there because of how shiny they are. I already sense it. I know that I'm going to get some flack from people that are Twilight fans. And they're like, oh, well, it has something to do with this and other things like that. And okay, in real life, nobody would care at all. People can sparkle and people won't care. There are a lot more eye-catching things than a sparkly person.
This is what I am.
It's like diamonds.
The weird breathing patterns, or one of the things that stick out a lot to me during this, are the like... If the emotional expression happening on Stewart's face was intensified, it wasn't as neutral, then that quick breathing like that would be more justified and warranted and wouldn't feel so out of place. But since we're dealing with a fairly neutral expression mixed with a physiological response that is usually demanded by a more intense emotive state, we're left feeling, again, a disconnect. This is partially due to Stewart's inexperience and poor acting. This is also due to the director being unable to get better out of their on-screen talent to make the movie more palatable. So we're stuck watching it the way that it is.
Kill you. I've never wanted a human's blood so much in my life.
I trust you.
Don't.
So during that time, Robert's main expression that keeps flitting across is partial disgust. You see it in the activity in the corners of his nose there. As you see that start to activate those muscular regions, oftentimes that's an indicator of a person feeling disgust about a certain thing. And that does not line up with what he's talking about, how he has never wanted a person's blood most. Now, the argument could be made that maybe this is a complexity thing. Maybe he's feeling disgust towards the fact that he's feeling this draw towards Bella's blood, scent, what have you. Possibly, but what I would also then argue against that is that this would be a rare moment of acting complexity. And again, I think that Pattinson does about as good of a job as you can with the character that he was given, but even in that, there's not an overt amount of those sorts of scenes where you really get to revel in the emotional complexity of the scene. A lot of this is real surface level, and what you see at the surface level is kind of an unpolished turd, but in certain moments we're supposed to then suddenly buy in that he's feeling these complex emotions towards a certain thing, even though there are these moments of like, yeah, this is a pretty decent, complex representation of an emotional state by the talent. Very cool. It does not fit with the context of the rest of the movie, which makes it still feel out of place and desynchronized and stilted, even if it is, at that moment, decent acting.
From the beginning, it was Nessie who wanted me there.
Nessie? You nicknamed my daughter after the Loch Ness Monster?
Bella, there are so many other issues that are going on in your life that somebody else's nickname for your kid is probably the least of the concerns. But to play devil's advocate here, this is a pretty pedophilic area of the movie where Jacob, who is obviously not a fucking spring chicken at this point, he's not 3 or 4 or 5 years old, years of experience and maturity and growth and brain development. And Nessie, in this situation, not the Loch Ness Monster, but the CGI demon child that we get to see in this movie, she is brand new born, and already there's this imprinting that's going on here, which is go watch the movie or read the books if you want to understand what that is. Regardless, it's creepy for somebody of that age to imprint onto somebody that young. I mean, if it was in today's actual society, it would be prison worthy. But I gotta give give credit to Stuart on this point. She does do a decent job at trying to synchronize her nonverbal communication to present anger, frustration, and rage. Good job on that point.
The window?
Do you do that a lot?
Just the past couple of months. I like watching you sleep.
If anybody that is greatly your senior sneaks into your room at night and says that I've only been doing this for the last couple months and I like watching you sleep, I do heavily suggest, for your own safety, don't date them. They've shown that they don't respect personal boundaries, even ones that should be enforced legally. If they don't respect those boundaries, what weird world would it have to be that they would even remotely respect more nuanced boundaries than that? If you're creeping on somebody without their knowledge for months and you are way, 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 way older than them, like they're in high school and you are decades old, that's exclusively problematic. Wow. All right. Well, it looks like, fortunately for us, the next scene, Jacob's gonna take his shirt off. Thank God.
Jacob, put your clothes on.
Now, this may seem strange, really strange, but stranger things happen every day. Trust me.
No, I really do agree with the dad on that front. Just, put your clothes on, leave them on. I know that this is a part of the scene. It's a whole reveal and it's the crucial point and whatnot, but I'd still support that statement of just like, I don't feel comfortable with you breathing heavily at me and taking your clothes off aggressively at me. It's just an uncomfortable time if I'm not a willing participant in that. It feels exhausting.
I am hotter than you.
I'm coming.
Bella, I don't want you to come.
Weird little peek into their bedroom life.
Guys, let's get to it. Gentle, certain areas. Easy. Just don't cut you, won't cut you. You won't believe this. Let's try to party. Zombie wise. No cell phones, guys. Let's get to it. Gentle, certain areas. Easy. Just don't cut you, won't cut you. You won't believe this.
Wow. We're down to this side of it. We've made it through that compilation. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments of this video. Do you want to see more? Another video that I had been planned on making in this same vein of poor acting and directing choices was 50 Shades of Grey, which, as far as I understand, is like it's related to Twilight in a spin-off sort of way. So if you would like to be able to see that, let me know in the comments of this video, as well as any other movies or TV shows that you feel like a nonverbal breakdown as to why it just doesn't hit right. Yeah, the comments is a great place to do that. If you do want to see these videos more regularly, I'm trying to upload twice a week, once on maybe a Tuesday-ish area, and then once on Saturday. So if you would like to see that, hit subscribe. You can become a member if you want to. There's not really any super big benefit to becoming a member, besides you kind of get to tip a little bit extra towards me, and I appreciate it, which is really cool, but you don't have to. If you do, thank you. If you don't, I very much understand. Same with the Patreon situation, also linked in the description of this video. Thanks for sticking around for all of this, but without further ado, that's all that I've got for the day. My name is Logan, and you have been oh so awesome, as you always are, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.